So first point that I want to discuss is about the structure of the answer for paper 2, right? So if we take some examples also, I'll take some questions from the this year mains as well. See, there is a, this thing for any general studies or paper 1 or paper 2, there is a three parts of the question, that is introduction, body, and conclusion, right? So this you all know, but most of them don't start with the proper introduction. Like most of them are stuck, like what to write in the introduction. See, whenever I have seen evaluation of the copies, most of the candidates, they are failing to address the proper introduction. So always it is very important that you bring the context of the question. For every question, we have the context. So you have to bring that context in your answers. Let's take example of the last year question itself. What, according to you, are the factors responsible for continuous of caste system in India? Explain. So this is the question. So here the context is caste system. You just define what is caste. No need to take any complexity. Some people are taking some data, some people are taking something else of related to caste. You define what is caste system. There is a number of thinkers. You start with Gurye, you start with M.N. Srinivas, you start with Andhra Betale. Any one definition of caste you can simply give. That is the context. You take the second question also. Discuss the changes taking place in the industrial class structure in India. This is the question, right? You just need to define what is industrial class structure. What actually is this in a simple manner in the introduction. You take the third question, is patriarchy a key to understanding different forms of inequality in India? The main context is patriarchy. What is patriarchy? You bring in the introduction part. Use thinker or your own definition, you can bring it on. So this is a very simple thing. You, whatever the context is there in the question, bring it on in the introduction part. Simply define or write about it. If the definition is very general or no need to give definition, you bring something related to the current affairs as well, right? So this is how you write the introduction part. Anything, it's better to use some thinker to define that. Let's say industrial class structure. If some thinker is there, define using that particular thinker what actually is the industrial class structure, caste system, patriarchy. Define with some thinker. So this will be the most suitable. And if you are not able to recollect the thinker, then you give your own understanding of the particular topic, right? So this is how you need to bring the introduction. And then the main part is the body part. There are few dimensions, few things to be discussed here in the body part. See, some people are asking whether to write in the point format or the paragraphic format. If the question is a very direct one, there is no analysis. Let's take first question itself. What, according to you, are the factors responsible for the continuous of caste system? So it's a very direct question. You write it down in the points. What are the factors? Write down 5 to 6. There is only one demand. So you can write even 7 to 8 points also. Write point and justify. This is a very critical thing. I'm repeating again. For every point, try to justify with the thinker or let's say, any current affairs example, right? Let's take what factors are contributing for the caste system. You try to bring the factor which some thinker has said, but don't directly write with the thinker. Many people are directly writing that M.N. Srinivas has said that because of the patriarchy, the caste system exists. Or Gurye said that it is a hierarchical arrangement ingrained since many ages. That's why it is present. Don't directly bring the thinker. They are not asking you to write the thinker's perspective unless until if they are asking you the thinker. Let's say explain the Sanskritization concept of M.N. Srinivas. Then only you can bring directly his name. But if they are asking your opinion, they are not asking the thinker perspective. You have to give your argument. And tactically, you can do one thing. Whatever you can recollect the M.N. Srinivas argument, you give your own perspective that this gender inequality is persisting the caste system, or the inequality that has present, the differentiation of work that has been present since many ages was making the caste system prevalent. First, you give your argument and then you bring the thinker. If you're directly remembering the thinker, you write in a generic point like you understood the point, then justify with the thinker. For example, M.S. Srinivas has said this. You can then justify your argument. Or if you're having some current affairs based example, even Chief Minister of Bihar was not allowed to enter into the temple, or if he entered, then the temple was cleansed. So that means the cultural element is still prevalent. That's why it is persisting. So you give your argument, then use thinker, or you can use the example. This is how you address the question, not the direct thinker's perspective, or you are not directly addressing actually the demand of the question, right? Identify the context you have written in the introduction part, then identify the demand. If there is a one demand, use one side heading. If there are two demands, use two side headings, right? Or if there is a three demands, use three side headings. So it is up to you how you handle it, right? So based on the demands, you use the side headings, right? So as I said, you have to give your own argument, not the thinker's arguments, unless until they are asking specifically about any thinker. You give your argument, then justify with the thinker or the example from the current affairs, right? So this is one thing. And second thing is, there will be a lot of questions, right? The sociological perspective of, let's say, industrial class. Many people are writing conflict perspective, structure functional perspective, or functional perspective or scientific perspective. This is not the sociological analysis, right? Many people are writing this. You will not get good score. You will get average in 200s, 220s. Sociological perspective means the dimensions of sociology. You have to write what actually this is industrial class. What are the reasons for emergence of industrial class? What are the nature and characteristics of the industrial class? And then what is the future ahead of industrial class? What are the challenges? These 4 or 5 dimensions you have to bring, and you have to give sociological related elements. Either you bring it on the elements mentioned in the syllabus. There is a very huge number of words mentioned in the syllabus. You can bring it on caste element, class element, gender element. There are religious element. There are number of elements which are mentioned in the syllabus itself. Try to connect those things to the industrial classes. Use thinker or current affairs example and develop the sociological perspective. It is not just to ask you conflict perspective, functional perspective. That is not the sociological analysis of particular component. You have to give all the dimensions, right? So if there are 2-3 demands, you address all the demands. You can keep side heading. And if it is an analysis based question, let's say they are not asking directly what are the factors. Let's take the example of second question. Discuss the changes that are taking place in industrial class structure in India. So it is an analysis. It is not direct question. So you need to discuss the changes that is being taken place. There are many changes that are being taken place. What are the factors contributing it, and what are the consequences? So you have to discuss in a paragraphic format using thinker, or you give your argument, use thinker or current affairs data or example, and develop the all dimensions that you have learned from this particular concept, right? And then you conclude. Any question will have to be conclude. Always end it in a positive. Either they ask for criticism, or if they are asking directly of any features, you end with a positive note. And also one more thing, many of the students are trying to give way forward solutions. Sociologists will never give any solutions. Rather, they will analyze the existing solutions. For example, there is a patriarchy. So you are writing the measures to be taken, that we have to take this one, that one. No, what are the solutions that's been taken? For example, women participation in work is being taken as a measure to reduce poverty, women education. So these measures are being taken, and still the patriarchy exists. Like this, you have to end. You should not give other solutions unless if the question is directly asking you what are the solutions to eradicate the caste system. That also you have to bring it on the studies, sociological studies, either annihilation of caste, either empowerment of backward sections, already existing society, thinkers, or some committee recommendations. You have to bring it on. These are the measures to contain, rather than giving your own suggestions. Of course, you can touch 1 or 2 points, but this is how sociologists work. They won't give any solutions as such. They will try to study the existing solutions, and if there is any loophole, they will just point out that still this is prevalent and this measure is not effective. So the new types of measures are required. So this type of answers you have to develop in the introduction, body, and conclusion, right? So you have to take care of these all aspects when you are writing the answer in the paper 2, right?